Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our Go Lumio webinar series, where we are providing continuous opportunities highlighting how Lumio can provide a fluid workflow that benefits teachers and students. We're going to show you how to create lessons and activities focused on classroom instructional strategies. My name is Laura Barr, and I am a professional development specialist from Texas. We also have Ingrid Wolf, another professional development specialist from Philly, with us today as well. In this week's webinar, Locked and Loaded, Mastering Advanced Locking Features in Lumio, or a Make and Take with Lumio today, features Michelle Grinberg, a professional development specialist from Arizona. We encourage participation, so if you have any questions, please ask those in the chat box during the presentation, and we'll either integrate them into the flow or hold them to be answered at the end during our Q&A period. We're going to be sharing resources from today's webinar in the chat, and also for participating today, a certificate will be provided after you complete a brief survey. So at this point, I'm going to turn things over to our fabulous Michelle so that we can dive into today's webinar, Locked and Loaded, Mastering Advanced Locking Features in Lumio.
Thanks, Laura. Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited because this is one of our brand new Make and Take sessions that we're planning on doing every month, because if you don't know yet, we do a Lumio challenge every single month. Every month it's a new one, and essentially as soon as you participate in that Lumio challenge, we enter you to win a gift card. So our goal here is that you see some different examples for this month's Lumio challenge. You get to make something, post it while we're here together today, and then enter to win. Also, just for being present here with us today at this webinar, you're already going to be entered into our contest for the month. So this month's challenge is locking features. So we want to learn all about the new locking features and different ways that we can use them. And so the goal is, first things first, I want you to see some different examples that I put together for you. So go ahead and log into my Lumio class so that you can see what your students can experience with some of these locking features. And then we're going to get to the making part of our session. So head on over to lumioclass.com. You also have the direct join link right in the chat for you. lumioclass.com, click on join as a guest, and then my class ID is 181461. And as you're logging in here, when I'm showing you some of these examples, my goal is to show you some different ideas, no matter what grade or content or subject you teach. I've got lots of different ideas here, so I hope that you can walk away with at least one idea that you can implement with your students over the coming weeks. All right, I think we're good to go. I'm going to give you one more second here, and I'm also going to put my class ID right at the bottom of my screen, but remember that that direct join link is also right in our Zoom chat. All right, so let's do a quick little icebreaker. I'm wondering if you've used locking already in Lumio, or if you're one of our notebook lovers, if you love using that locking feature, what have you made with it? And if not, what's something that you're hoping to try? So let's participate in a quick little shout it out. If you've used the locking features already, what have you made? I'm curious. Let's gather some ideas. And if not, what are you hoping to try out? Maybe we can help you. Would love to try using locking features to create a timeline for my social studies class. Oh my God, you have no idea. It is literally the first example I'm going to show you. That was perfect. What a coincidence. That's the first one I'm going to show you. Anyone else have any other things that they'd like to try? Or if you've already made something? I'm interested to learn more about the locking features. I've been using locking features to lock student work. Okay. Yep. Very, very simply put, I always say, whenever you're creating anything for your students, anything that they shouldn't touch, you should always lock down, Pam. That is such an important thing. Interactive pre-algebra games or activities. Okay, I think we've got some good ideas here. Let's get started. All right. Here we go. Who said they needed something? Taylor. Taylor for a timeline activity. How's that for you? So what I did here was drag and drop the space exploration events to rearrange them in the correct chronological order. So I have these set to be locked horizontally. So all the students need to do is rearrange these events like so. So you can go ahead and try that on your screen, see what it feels like. And as you're kind of playing around with that, something I always like to do with my students is a little self-check. So I also have hiding off to the screen. This is something else you can do in Lumio because there's only so much screen space. You also can hide things off to the side, which I also have locked horizontally for my students there. And then for any of my early finishers, if anyone wants to do some more learning, this rocket ship, they can also, which is locked vertically, they can bring up to go to the NASA website if they want to do any of their own exploration. I'm going to drop my teacher activity down here and see, I can kind of click in and see how everyone is doing. So let's see, who can I put on the spot here? On your side in the top right corner, you do have a little done button. If you hit that done button, it lets me know that I can click into yours by giving me a green check mark. Very easy to do a timeline activity like that. You can make this any way you would like. This is one of the activities that when we get to the making part, I'm actually going to show you. And now you might be wondering, how can I do something similar for this? Maybe for math. So here, all I have my students doing is they're first going to drag each fraction to match with its decimal equivalent. Now, I'm not very good at math. My friends, please help me out here. Any matches we can make? What do we think? Ingrid, remind me, what did you teach?
Elementary special ed. So
And
not
I was
exactly
kindergarten.
this.
Laura, you taught fourth grade, I think, right?
I taught fourth and fifth, so I would need to do a little bit of math. I was more ELAR, but I think we can get some going. Yeah, like I
If you
think
make
three
one match
twentieths.
here,
Yeah, 3/20th might be 1 and 1500ths. So I think that one
hopefully
could
no
go
math
there.
teachers are watching this because we're probably embarrassing ourselves.
Hey, I said it correctly. A lot of times math teachers are like, don't say 0.15. You got to say them with their place value. So, yes. Anyone in the
Well, I
chat
did
can
make
kind of tell us.
So the first step in this one is for the students to drag and to connect the decimal to its fraction. And then I have another little thing hiding off to the side here, pull for extra credit, sort the values from least to greatest. So just a little extra step after they make those matches. Now I might want them to rearrange the values. So this is the part where abort mission, I can't do it. This is so above my kindergarten, first grade math brain. Before I embarrass myself any further, we're going on to the next one. This is so much more primary for me and my abilities. So thinking about different locking features, the ones you just saw, I had different horizontal locking mechanisms, and I did have one vertical where I had the students drag out that rocket ship. So this one, I have these objects here, they're locked, but I have them set to lock and allow rotate. The goal is here, I'm gonna have my students bring the objects up to the ruler and measure it like so. And also just, I always want to bring in some audio because this is an activity for my primary students. So I have my instructions set here with audio, so they'll click into it.
Drag the items over to the ruler to measure in centimeters. Hint, you might need to rotate the items to see how long they are.
And then once they're done, they have a few different options to label. So they can write their measurement, they can type their measurement, or they can also record themselves if typing maybe isn't where we're at yet. All right, I'm going to just show you a few more examples. Remember, the goal is we're going to make something. So I'm going to show you some more ideas, hopefully spark some fun things, and then we're going to get to creating. So again, I'm thinking of graphing here. So this is a primary example, but for any of my upper teachers here, how are we using graphing? So here is a little vertical locking mechanism for you. We can talk about temperature and then do some graphing. And how did I create this? I'll show you when we get there, but the secret sauce is I actually have a little white box hiding right here so that when this rectangle goes down, you don't see it. And same here, there's a little white rectangle hiding the extra part of my little chart here. I'm going to give everyone just a second to interact with that page. This is an individual handout, so you all have the ability to play around. All right, let's take a look at just a couple more examples. I always want to think, and Ingrid just told me that SPED is her go-to. I always want to think about first then statements with my students. I used a lot of this with my students, and I like to keep everything kind of in Lumio, just less things for me and my kiddos to coordinate. So first we're going to work. And then we get that iPad time. Ingrid, did you ever use these in your classroom?
Oh my goodness, every second of every day.
And so this one, so we reviewed horizontal locking mechanisms, vertical locking. This one I have set to lock just the size. So they're able to move it, but they can't change the size, which when I speak to a lot of my special education teachers that I work with, that's a really huge concern, especially when they're on their iPads. They do end up accidentally resizing things and they might get flustered. So it's a really nice way to be able to let them move the objects, but taking away that resizing option for them. Similar concept here on my next page, also just allowing to move, maybe a little comprehension activity. I want them to read this short little story, and then they're going to order in which these events happen. So first, Max folded his clothes, then he put his toys in a box, and then he vacuumed his room. I need Max to come vacuum my room too. All right, I'm going to show you just one more example, and then we're going to get to the making part. I have to always give some credit to my science teachers. So we did some allow, move, and rotate, vertical, horizontal, allow, move, no resizing. This is another one, just allowing to move, no resizing. They are just going to complete this puzzle. So the pieces are locked in size. All they need to do is just move them around the screen just like so to complete my puzzle of matching the animal to its habitat. What do we think, team?
Love that. I was playing while you were doing it too. I love that.
Yeah, super cool.
And just such a fun way I can do this. I always think like manipulatives with my students or puzzles. They always ended up missing under the carpet, in my students' backpacks and their pockets, my pockets. Sometimes I always walked away with my markers and everything in my pockets. But this is just a very nice way to be able to do a puzzle without all those extra pieces everywhere. And then I'm also able to drop it down again and click into, let's just say Pamela, and I can see how Pamela did. All right, let's get to it. We are going to start creating. So again, this is our make and take session. So this month's Lumio challenge is, what is your favorite way to use Lumio's locking features to enhance interactivity in your lessons? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take about 10 minutes to create an activity that you can use in your classroom. I'm going to walk you through how to create one, and you have the option. Once you do, you can either work alongside with me, create exactly what I'm creating. You can do what I'm doing, but with your own content, or you can go rogue and start to kind of experiment on your own. All right, once we're done, we're going to take a picture of what we did and we're going to post it so that we can participate in this month's Lumio challenge. So here's what we're going to do. You are going to leave my class. So mine says end lesson, but yours is going to say leave class. Open up a new tab and go ahead and log into golumio.com. Let's take a second to log into Lumio. golumio.com. All right, give me a shout in the Zoom chat when you're feeling ready. And remember, just for being here, you are already part of our Lumio challenge this month. I've got Ingrid over there writing down everyone's names. Perfect. Thanks, Pam, for letting me know in the chat that you are ready. Thanks, Elizabeth. I'll give like 10 more seconds and then we're going to start creating. Thanks, Candace. All right, here we go. So I'm just going to go to a blank page. So I'm going to click on new. I'm going to go to new page and just bring in a blank page, clean slate. So again, kind of choose your own adventure. If you'd like to build exactly what I'm building, please feel free to do so. If you want to do mostly what I'm doing with your own content, or totally go rogue. So I'm actually going to build that timeline event. Locking with a horizontal locking. Again, you can do history, you can do sequence of events with a novel that you're reading with your students. You can do a number line. So think about different ways, maybe a life cycle of an animal. So I just gave you a science, a math, an ELA, and a history example. Oh my goodness. Here we go. So what I'm going to do is come over to the top button over here. That is what we call our gallery. It's the button with the heart and the plus. And then I'm going to come to the left and there is a button with shapes in it. Once I'm there, you see all the shapes. I'm going to click on lines. And here's where I'm going to grab that double-sided arrow here. I'm going to bring it out. I always like to make it just a little bit thicker. And remember what I said, anything that our students don't need to touch or move or manipulate, we're always going to lock it down. First part of locking features, just lock it down if it shouldn't be touched. So I'm going to click on that arrow one more time. grab that menu, and there are all of those different locking mechanisms that you can set. So the first thing I'm going to do is just lock this in place. So now my students cannot touch this line because that's not going to be part of the interactivity, if you will. I'm going to come back over to my gallery, go back to my lines, and now I'll grab the arrow that's got the circle at one end and the arrow pointing up. Let's rotate it down here for me. And again, I always like to make it just a little thicker. Here we go. So now it's right on my number line. 2 more steps I need to do. Coming back, almost everything I'm going to do right now is in that gallery button, but now I'm going to come back to shapes and I'm going to grab this little square here. You don't have to do a square. Remember when I showed you that ordering the decimals and fractions, I didn't have the numbers in squares. I don't know why I like to have it inside a tile. Just a personal preference. You don't have to do this part. All right, last step. Here's what I'm going to do. Grab some text and type it and start typing. So again, some different ideas. If you are a science teacher, you can do life cycle. For math, you can do ordering numbers. ELA, you can sequence events. Social studies, we can do a timeline. So no matter what you teach, think about what you can do. So let's just do for mine, I'll do, Oh, I should have thought of this in advance. What am I going to do, guys?
I was thinking sequencing of events, but that is,
Maybe
but
for
we'd
like
have
the
to have a
three
story
little-
that, but we can do first, next, then in last and do like a summary and move those
maybe like
major
the
events.
3 little bears. So
There
what
you
happened?
go.
Like Goldilocks went on a walk, I think, right? Goldilocks. How do you spell Goldilocks? Oh my goodness, Michelle, your brain is done at the end of the day. Went on a walk. All right. From here, you can, customize this, make it look nice and pretty. For time's sake, I'll just be real quick. And now I don't want to have to do this every single time. So here's my little, the arrows. Of course, we're talking Taylor Swift in the chat here.
She's
Of course
speaking my
we are.
language.
Melissa came to the right place. So my little trick here, because I want to save you time. You don't have to recreate this for every single part you're going to put on your number line or your sequence here. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on these 3 items. So I clicked on my square, my text, and my arrow. All I did was I'm holding the control button, or you can click control and drag like that as well. And I'm going to group these items together. So now they're already grouped. So the next thing I'm going to do is just control C, control V to copy it. And I can make a ton of these, so I don't have to keep grabbing a new square, grabbing a new line. I'm just going to make a few of these in advance. And once I'm done customizing these, so let's see, Goldilocks went on a walk. She found the house. What happens next, y'all? Help me out. She found a house.
I think she goes in there and maybe she does the food first. I think bed's the last. Food, chair, bed. Is that the right order? Or chair, food, bed? For porridge?
Goldilocks tries all the chairs, so on and so forth, okay? All I need to do now is go ahead and set my locking mechanism. So I'm going to click on this grouping that I have right here. I'll show you one more time how I did that copying. 1 second. So from here, all I need to do is hit that arrow, and this is going to be my horizontal move. So now you can see all the student can do is move it back and forth. So to copy and paste, when I was creating this, I'm going to show you one more time how I created. I'm going to kind of get rid of these here so we're not confused. Kind of step by step. Coming back here, I grab my line first. You can choose any of them. I chose the one that has the arrow with the dot. I made it just a little thicker. Next, coming right back over here, I'm going to go to my shapes and grab my little tile. You don't have to do the tile part. I like to have my text in the square. And then grab my text, click A, click on the screen, start typing. And I'm on a Windows computer, so for me, I can press and hold the control button and I can drag to select those items. If you're on a Mac, instead of control, you're going to press and hold the command button. And if you're on a Chromebook, I think you press and hold the shift button, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
There you go. So from here, I just grouped them together first. So I'm going to group all those items. And then once I'm done, I can, again, on a Mac, you're going to do Command C to copy. On a Windows computer, Control C. And then same, but Control V or Command V to paste. So I just did that a ton of times like that. Last step is to click that arrow and do allow horizontal move. And now those are ready to go. The very last step you're going to want to do here is turn this into an activity. So you can click on your magic wands and turn this into an individual activity for your students. I would love everyone that's here in the chat. Tell me what you're creating. Did you create, if you created exactly what I created, that's also okay. Let us know in the chat. What did you create?
I love that you're doing the Eras Tour one.
Love it. And Elizabeth followed along. That's perfect. Working on Matt. Oh, okay. Graphs and equations. I love that. Now that you've said math and graphs, I want to show you how I did that other activity real quick. So I'm going to go to a new blank page. So the trick that I did was I actually went out to Google and I searched for a thermometer. You're going to go to images, tools, color, and transparent. And let's see, where did I find that? I don't know where I found it. I probably scrolled through here for a little while. But let's see, I'm just going to come back over here to make that graph. All I did was I first grabbed a rectangle or a square. You can change it by pressing and holding that bottom right corner. There we go. And this one I might have made red. I don't need an outline on it. And then I am going to, the order that you do this in matters. I'm going to do allow vertical move because essentially you want that white square to be over it. So I'm going to bring this one right over it. And I'm going to make this white, no outline. And then this one I'm going to simply lock in place. So now you'll see that this kind of drags out right over here. Nouns, verbs, sticky note, move lesson. Oh, that's super fun. All right, so remember, we're here for our make and take session for the Lumio challenge. So here is what I would love for everyone to do. We are going to share what you made. So for each month when we do the Lumio challenge, all you need to do is post your activity across any social media. So if you're a Facebook user, I think Laura's going to drop our Facebook group into the chat for you. If you're on Twitter, Instagram, you can just tag us. So here's all you're gonna do. So once you've made your activity, we'd love if you took a screenshot of your activity, or if you don't mind sharing, you can also grab your teacher share link for your activity and post it across social media. So we're gonna finish creating that activity and then share it on socials. Make sure you also use hashtag Lumio challenge. I'm gonna add that right here for us. So hashtag Lumio challenge. Laura put the link to our Facebook group. It'll bring you out right to here. And once you're in there, you can go ahead and post a screenshot of your Lumio lesson for us to see. We'd love for you to share out what you did. You can also do it on Twitter. You can do it on Instagram. Feel free to use a screenshot, or you can grab your teacher share link. And to do that right here in your library, you're going to click on those three dots, click on share link, and then grab this teacher share link here. And you can also post that across our social media. So I'll give just everyone just a couple of minutes to do that. And make sure you use hashtag Lumio challenge. Every month we give out quite a few gift cards. All you need to do is participate every month. We've got a different one next month. What do we have coming up, Laura? I think next month is how they're using their audio features, right?
Yep, audio features. So instructional audio, attached audio, all the things.
All right. So once you're finished up with that, always remember that there are lots of different resources for you to do. So I'm going to pass it over to Laura to talk about some of those resources.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Mish. I want to know in the chat, what was one of your favorite locking activities that you saw Mish show you today? And then we're also going to put in the chat, thank you for that, Ingrid. Those are some of our Lumio resources. So when we look at this, we have lots and lots of resources. You are never alone. We have a Lumio YouTube playlist where you can see all the videos if you're someone that learns by watching. Definitely recommend that. We also have other webinars coming up. So like Mish said, we have different ones coming up. Next month's Lumio Challenge will be on audio features. And then we also have the Academy. So if you are ever needing PD credit hours, or you are just wanting to learn more about Lumio, we have our Lumio Academy, which is free, self-paced coursework. And then we always link our social media accounts there. We are always posting, and there's other educators that are always posting things that they are doing in their classroom. So it really is a make and take and kind of see what you like and add it to your own Lumio library as well. So all of those are linked for you there. And then I'm also going to put in our chat, we have an upcoming webinar a little bit on the 25th. It's going to be all about vocabulary. So I'm just going to link that there. There's the registration link for that, but we'd love to see you back for that webinar. And then the last thing is, in order to get credit for your participation today, there is your survey link. Mish also has it on the screen as well, but we thank you for joining us today for our Go Lumio webinar. It's been a pleasure to be with you, and I want to thank Michelle for her insight on how we can use those advanced locking features in our classroom and create some interactive activities. Don't forget to complete that survey, and then remember that you will receive a follow-up email with the recording of this webinar and resources to help you on your Lumio journey.
Don't forget to post the activity that you made across any social, so it can be on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just make sure you tag us at Lumio Social and use hashtag Lumio Challenge. We're excited to see all the different ways that you're using those locking features. And remember, next month's Lumio Challenge is all about the audio features. So start thinking of those ideas. We can't wait to see them. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. You're welcome. Bye.